Good morning. Today's energies want you to know that there isn't a model for success for the highly sensitive, for how to be highly sensitive and also have a wide open heart in this world. There isn't a model for how to dream big the way you dream big, to be sensitive to the energies around you and still achieve success. So you are the world builder. Since there is no one ahead of you to define what the way looks like, you're drawing the map. You have gone into the forest, and the forest represents the unknown, right? It represents shadows, things hidden, but it also represents resources and abundance. Yes, there might be things with teeth in the dark, and that is the fear, the uncertainty. Right? The uncertainty is the thing with teeth that lives in the dark that we all fear. But entering the forest is having the courage to also know that that's where all the resources are. Everything you need is provided by the forest. So there's no one that has left a model for how to build the world that you want to build. It is up to you to have the vision and to mark the way. You are the map maker. Modern models are built on the past models of grind and defense. We learned how to hustle, how to chase urgency. In fact, we learned to be uncomfortable without urgency. Most of us feel more panic over quiet than we do with the hustle bustle. And that is an outdated system that we are seeing dissolve away. More of us are learning how to say no to the panic and yes to the pausing for clarity. So you are creating a new template for others to follow. The forest and the map builder, you are taking down the walls. And when this imagery hit me, it had me thinking about the Berlin Wall coming down and what the point of the Berlin Wall coming down was, and that was to reestablish unity. The wall was built up because two sides decided they were enemies. They decided that their differences were too much to overcome. And so out of fear, a wall was built. It came down when the people remembered they were one and wanted to end that separation. So remember that time period of the wall coming down. That is where you are at. Within your own psyche, you are pulling down those walls of separation. You are finding that balance between taking action and resting and digesting. You are understanding that triggers are catalysts. They are the bombs that drop in order to make things move. But we have to understand what the nature, that symbolism of fire is, right? It is a bomb dropping on something that no longer serves and needs to be destroyed. It is cataclysmic. It is destructive. It is eliminating. That is actually parasympathetic nervous system, eliminating what no longer serves, aggressively and with authority within your psyche. These are being dropped on our survival conditioning, on all those fear-based narratives that kept us separate, that said this part of you is bad and this part of you is good. You have integrated your shadow and your light, and have come to embrace the dance between them. So understand the debris that remains after the bomb drops, after the trigger catalyzes the energies. What is left behind is ash and debris that become minerals, salt, and soil, and scaffolding for what is to be built anew. Nothing is wasted. Nothing just goes away. The ash is the memory. It is the scaffolding you use to build this next phase. It is what feeds carbon into the soil so that your plants can build their stems and leaves and flowers. It is what is needed to grow. The walls had to come down. Those triggers had to happen in order to drop the bomb in your mind that, hey, this isn't working. Hey, this pattern, this cycle, this belief in separation isn't serving. It's a cage. It's a prison. So this leads to understanding the mind a little bit more, where the choice is really between individuation and belonging, and finding that delicate balance between the two. A lot of our efforts to build boundaries on the path of individuation built walls, and we needed to for a time in order to keep ourselves safe when we were surrounded by energies that gave us reasons to have defenses up. But you have left the pond where the sharks live. You don't have octopus tentacles wrapping around you and pulling you down anymore. You're in the forest, not the sea. So you have left those parts behind. You have found what you need. You have worked on your hyper independence, which to me is what the shark energy is. And you have worked on your attachments, which is what the octopus is. And you have taken the ability of the eagle to heart, and now you can rise above the forest and see what others cannot see. So now the question is about, what are you going to choose from here? Freedom or respect? Because to not clearly define them leaves the energies kind of waffling instead of clearly setting on a path. See, when we choose freedom, we are choosing to individuate, and it's more of a hyper-independent state where we are choosing to hold our standards and allowing that uncertainty, because it is our inner world that we are focused on the most. And what is out here, we don't want to take the time to define. That is allowing the universe and what is around us to define for us, and we will assign meaning later. A lot of that, takes place in metacognition. It's very frontal cortex thinking. And then there's respect, which is still using the brain stem, that old, rooted in survival, needing to connect frames of thinking. Because respect is interrelational, whereas freedom is relationship with self. You're learning how to walk a delicate balance between the two, but right now, the energies of the universe want you to choose one. Are you going to focus on yourself and your individuation and let the universe arrange the stage for you? Or are you going to clearly define your standards and principles in relationship and tell the world what you expect in respect and relationship? Are you going to define it and then let the universe provide it? Both of them are a statement of trust. Both of them are an interplay relationship with your reality. But one of them is very turned inward and one of them is turned outward. One of them is focusing on relationship with self and the other is focusing on relationship with others. Are you going to continue to work on your independence your higher thinking, your metacognition? Or are you going to turn your energies outward and start working on building relationship? The energies are asking us to get off the fence and to choose a side. It doesn't mean we can't go back and forth, because we will. We will go back and forth. But for right now, we're being asked to choose a main lane. What do you sense? And what is your interpretation? Are you going to focus on the dream, the image, the vision, the value, the feeling, which is inside, and assigning meaning after the universe provides the abundance? Or are you focused on facts, data, experience, and action, the relationship between, and defining those first before you proceed? Are you going to choose tribalism or individuation for your main theme? Respect or freedom? We are a neural network. You've been redefining connections within your mind. Your higher mind unifying the hemispheres is not the same as working with the brain stem. Choosing to face those survival patterns and define what you want in relationships looking forward is redefining tribalism. And that is a really, really good focus for people to choose, because that is going to reshape connection for the collective. So if you choose that, you are still doing good work towards your visions for the world that you want to build. The other is continuing to focus on the hemispheres of the cerebral cortex, working on the bridge between them and learning how to navigate your internal feeling world and your ability to process and make meaning of it, the right brain. But this is the reason that you're being asked to choose a lane right now is so that you can reduce the cognitive load. Because the brain has plasticity. You can disconnect two neurons and they will reform pathways based on what you choose and give attention to. But if you are focused in two different kinds of work with your inner world, if you are focusing on both your outward connection and expression and meaning making ahead of yourself, and also focusing on allowing, meeting what rises, and creating the meaning as it comes, that's almost cognitive overload, and those connections can get confused, those neurons that you are rewiring. So the energies are asking you to pick a lane to reduce the cognitive load. If you haven't been receiving clarity in your quiet and your still, it's right now it's because the energies are asking you to pick a lane, and that is why. Your brain is healing, it is reforming connections, but if you want those brain connections to form with consistency and in ways that are going to support your next phase of development, because we're constantly cycling through phases, then you need to hone in on one area, reduce that cognitive load, and let it focus on making strong brain connections in the area you are choosing. So are you going to allow your brain stem to rewire and clearly define your expectations and connection based on respect, and making choices based on values you're predefining? And we always want to have our values there, but I mean in connection. What you expect of other people, of yourself in those connections with other people. Are you going to focus on that area, or are you going to continue focusing on your value within yourself and your own behavior? All of this is about the pruning and the cultivating within your mind. The allowing your computer to defrag in the ways that are most efficient without using up all your energy stores, because all of this takes energy in the body. Your brain uses, what was it, 60 to 70% of your blood glucose? So if you are focusing on respect and freedom, you are operating all of your brain, and those neural connections can end up confused, and that can prevent some of that clarity from coming through. So choosing freedom is the allowing of uncertainty without definition or expectation. You assign the meaning after it rises. And a lot the way I did yesterday when I was walking in the rain and the snow. I allowed, obviously, the outside to happen, and then I got home and processed it later and found the symbolism and the meaning, because I am very much focused on my own individuation, continuing to develop myself. I am not as focused on respect right now. And that is okay, because I know that that will come. That will be the next one for me. Respect is about defining the desires and setting expectations on those outcomes. It is setting the bar and saying, this is what I am going to move to when it presents in my environment. The other is saying, I'm not going to wait for the environment to provide before I move. Okay, that is the real difference. Now that I have it a little bit more clear in my own mind. The freedom is, I am going to act and proceed, and the universe will meet and respond to me. Whereas respect is, I am going to meet what rises based on what rises. Both of them require those standards to be really clear, but you are being asked to focus in on one area or the other, so that either your brainstem can defrag and solidify while your cerebral cortex rests for a bit. And we're talking about those neural connections reforming that plasticity, or you're going to focus up here and let this one kind of work. You're letting one work in the background in the dark. Neither is wrong. It's just about waffling and naming the priority. Naming which is your priority and allowing that to focus in while you are riding through this time. A lot of this is about the energies that are coming up with the equinox and the new moon and Mercury going direct. So right now, through that transition, you are being asked to pick a lane. So which is your focus? Freedom, which isn't worried about belonging, or respect, which is? Are you focused on self or relationship right now? And then apply that to your experience. And that was the message that I received today. It was just to kind of create enough understanding that we realize that our brain is doing a lot of work. It is healing and mending. It is taking walls down. It is cleaning out debris. It is forming new neural connections. But you can't clean the bathroom and the kitchen at the same time. You have to focus your energies on one in order for the work to be well done. So focusing on your freedom or your respect. And that's what I have for you today. I send you my love.